ZR1. Welcome back to Six Cars, guys. We got the SVJs rolling by us. Saturday here in Monterey. We're at Laguna Seca currently. It's the Rolex Reunion, a great tradition here at Monterey Car Week. And of course, I want to make this its own video because there's so much going on at the track today. We're going to do a huge sweep of the paddock, see all the cars that are here in attendance. We'll get some on-track action too. There's also a couple of demonstration runs happening from Gordon Murray and McMurtry. So that should be incredibly fun to watch those cars on track. So of course, I remind you again, subscribe, like, comment, and share. You guys already know what to do. Let's get at it. All right, a few cars I wanted to show you in this display here, the anniversary of the actual Rolex Reunion here at Laguna Seca. They brought in some real heavy hitters. I'm starting off with arguably the coolest one here, the Garage 56 Camaro ZR1. So taking a NASCAR, taking all the restrictors off of it, putting a ton of extra downforce, and putting it in the Le Mans 24 hours, racing against world-class prototypes of GT cars. The fact that it was actually outpacing GT cars is totally insane. It was blisteringly quick. And hey, it showed people that NASCARs can do more than just turn left these days if you put the right parts on it. So to be able to see that in the flesh is super cool. And the fact that they've left it really dirty is absolutely awesome. They haven't cleaned it since it came back from France. That is an incredible car. I'm so happy we get to see that. Got an Audi R15 over here. Audi, of course, had a dominant run at Le Mans where they just couldn't lose to anybody. And beside that, we've got another German legend there, the BMW V12 LMR. We see the Sauber C9 down there. And we're going to have a look at that Nissan GTP as well. So yeah, another Le Mans winner here with the BMW V12 LMR. That looks great. And I love how they, even on these classic prototypes, they still kept the little kidney grills at the front. That's super nice. And my mistake, sorry, it's the Sauber C11 they have here from 1990. Now they all look pretty similar, but it's iconic with the silver arrow paint scheme on it. And the Nissan GTP ZX Turbo is just a mega looking car. And obviously I'm a huge Nissan fan myself, so that's one of my personal favorites. And I will take you around to the back of that car so you can see it in more detail, because I think the back might be the craziest part of that car. And we have the 935 over there as well. We see plenty of these at Laguna Seca over the years, but it never really gets old. Now I just want to show you guys the back ends of these cars too, because they are arguably even crazier than the fronts. We got the 935, and look at how wide the GTP ZX Turbo is. I don't think the front does it justice, but that rear wing is absolutely massive. It's actually a detachable part. You can see it's bolted on to the back of the car. And have a look underneath there. There's just so much space. Everything is just completely cut out to make room for that gigantic wing. And look at the slick tires back there. We saw the Sauber, and there's the back end of the legendary V12 LMR, another Le Mans winner, and one of the craziest sounding cars that I've ever heard in my life. It's such a good looking car. And we have the Audi R15 over here. A few legendary drivers there. Capello, Tom Christensen, Alan McNish. And yeah, they've obviously had quite the evolution of these prototypes throughout the years. And yeah, of course, the Garage 56 Camaro. Okay, a few very cool Mazda race cars. The RX 792P. I feel like a lot of people don't really know about this car, but it's one of the best looking race cars ever built, I think. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. And in front of us, we do have a 1989 767B, if you can see it through the ropes there. So it's the 1989 version, 2 years before the famous 787B that won Le Mans and basically got the car banned because it was so damn fast. But it's still got that cool green and orange renowned livery, an absolute legend. And beside that, we have the FC RX-7 from IMSA GTO. And this one we will definitely see on track today. I'm not sure about the two prototypes, but we will hear this one. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. That rotary engine cannot be topped. There's an iconic car that I grew up watching for a long time, the Flying Lizard GT3 RSR. This one is the 996 variant, but Flying Lizard is one of the most iconic Porsche teams of the modern era, so that's so cool. I get to see that again. And we do have either a 962 or a 956 here in the Yokohama Advan livery. That looks, man, that is just so cool to see. guys, the GOAT. We finally found McLaren F1 here at Monterey Car Week. I know we've seen this particular one on the channel before, but for all the new viewers, of course, I'm going to show it again because this is obviously the greatest car of all time. I don't even want to hear a debate. There's no question about it. And hey, you know what? It's not the actual Le Mans winner, but the fact that McLaren didn't even really want to enter the F1 into Le Mans or racing in general at first. They're basically pressured into doing it, and they ended up winning on their very first try with this absolute monster. And of course, under the BMW 10, because it has that BMW V12 in it. So I'm trying to talk over all of the cars on track here. But hey, you know what? This Fina livery is pretty iconic as well. I think it's one of the best known ones out there. The Planet Hollywood branding, and there is, of course, that center seat position that is so famous on this car. So it's always a treat when we get to see in F1. The fact that we can get so close to it as well is extremely lucky, and why the Rolex Reunion is one of the coolest events on earth. This is the Monterey Reunion in a nutshell. Just a mix up of pretty much everything. You've got a classic March Formula 1 car, so I've got the Group 44, a Jaguar. It's just an iconic looking car and really, really unique as well. It's nothing else that really looks like that. And we've got a Ferrari SP3 Daytona beside him. Not a race car, but one very cool looking road car. Of course, we have seen this around already, but it's always good to see it again. We've got a little collection of Zach Brown's personal cars here. Looks like the 320 Turbo Group 5, but all the body parts are pretty much off of it. But I'm going to take you guys over here. We do have a Williams Formula 1 car that flies Saudi livery. That could very well be a championship winning car. It's an Alan Jones car, so that's from 1980. That would be a championship winning car. And over here, we have another iconic racer, the Silk Cut Jaguar. It looks like the XJR9 or the XJR8 or anything from that era, but either way, this Group C Jaguar is just a classic, and I think the Silk Cut livery is probably one of the best looking of the Group C liveries in general, so that is an awesome car to see. A few cool things I want to show you here at BMW, the M Hybrid V8, obviously their hypercar, their GTP for IMSA, and the FIA WEC, but inside here we have the brand new BMW M5, the chonky boy, as everybody knows it, insanely heavy. It's putting in a lot of power. I don't know what you guys think about the looks, but I think what everyone's talking about is just how damn heavy this thing is. But the design is open to interpretation, but what's really cool, they also have the M5 Touring back here. So the Touring is obviously an estate version, and you can only imagine it's even heavier than the standard sedan. So I'm pretty sure it weighs more than like an F-150 Lightning, which is absolutely absurd. I'm not sure how BMW made such a heavy car. You can't deny the power, obviously, but the weight is a bit strange, to be honest. But the fact that it is an estate and a wagon is actually really cool, and I'm glad they did that because I am a huge sucker for wagons. So curious to know what you guys think of these new M5s. Let me know down in the comments if you like the appearance of them, if you like the, well, if you don't really care about the weight or not, if that's a deal breaker for you. And the power obviously is a big selling point. But yeah, that is the new M5 in the flesh. How about that? One of Honda's first ever Formula 1 cars driven by Richie Ginther. Look at how tiny it is too. You definitely see the evolution between a modern day Formula 1 car and a classic, whereas this, there's basically just the driver and a tiny little shell with an engine and a steering wheel. There's not really much to it, but it's just such a cool looking design. And yeah, this era of F1 obviously going for a ton of performance and unfortunately not very much safety, but it's an iconic car, and I don't think I've ever seen this particular one before in my life, so it's a new one for the channel too. That is so cool. Mustang GTD in front of us, but not just any Mustang GTD. Apparently this is a brand new Carbon Series, so they've gone for even more weight savings with this one. The goal is to set a sub 7-minute lap time on the Nürburgring. Now we already know this car is basically a Mustang GT3 car for the road, essentially compete with things like the GT3 RS and the Huracan STO. It's absolutely outrageous. You might think $300,000 is a lot of money for a Mustang. When you think about how much power they got in this, 800 about in this car, and how light it is and how fast it can get around a track, 300 grand is not so bad of a deal. And personally, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait to see customer cars rolling out. There it is, guys, the newly revealed C8 Corvette ZR1, the beast with over 1,000 horsepower from a V8. The fact that Corvette is selling a road legal, production ready 1,000 horsepower Corvette to me is absolute insanity. I mean, for them to get this much power out of this engine from factory is totally ridiculous. Full carbon fiber wheels, the carbon fiber front splitter and fascia is obviously a huge upgrade over the standard Stingray and the Z06. Look at the size of this rear wing too, my goodness. Look, every time you think that Corvette is just producing the faster cars and they can't top themselves, they always come out with something crazier. And I don't know what you guys feel about the mid-engine designs. I know it's been like hotly contested ever since the C8 came out. Personally, I think it looks fantastic, and this ZR1 is an absolute behemoth. And again, these more carbon fiber accents with all of this added cooling needed for all of that horsepower in there. That is just insanity. Once again, I really just am totally shocked they've squeezed that much power out of this car. It's seriously impressive. Now, here is a new car that we have not seen on the channel, the infamous McMurtry Speirling, the Goodwood Hill Climb record car. Full electric. Honestly, it looks like a cartoon car. I'm not even going to lie. It's so tiny. Everything looks so squished together, but there's no way you can deny how fast this thing is. It is 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.5 seconds. I'm sure you guys have all seen the Goodwood video by now. I think it was Max Chilton who drove this on the hill climb. It honestly looks fake because the video is so ridiculous. You think there's no way anything can go that fast, but that is exactly what the guys at McMurtry have built with this car. It's just insanely fast. It's incredibly lightweight. It's super tiny, so very easy to handle, and just a ton of instant torque and electric power. But that is one of the wildest cars I've honestly ever seen. I know they're building customer cars too, so hopefully we will see some of those soon. I think this is the prototype, but nevertheless, there it is in the flesh, the McMurtry Speirling. Hey guys, I'm currently standing at the top of the hill here at the corkscrew. We're just waiting for the McMurtry Speirling to do its display runs. I just want to show you guys one of the coolest views in motorsport, because from the top of the hill at the corkscrew, you can pretty much see the entire track here at Laguna Seca, which is something I've never seen before any other circuit in the world that I've ever visited. But you can basically watch a car do a lap from the start finish line all the way to the end. It's truly a one-of-a-kind place here at Laguna Seca. Let's flip the camera around, head back to the corkscrew, and check out the McMurtry Speirling. There's another good looking Nissan for myself, the Nissan fanboy. That is the Newman Sharp Racing. I believe it is the 300ZX. These are obviously, did a lot of racing back in the old IMSA GT series. That's a great car to see. Back over here, we've got a Buick GTP, which is probably a little less known than some of the other famous GTP cars. That looks really nice though. And we got a classic McLaren Can-Am car in the old school McLaren Orange too. Those are always good to see. Almost walked right past us beside the McLaren. We got a Ferrari 250 GT short wheelbase. Absolutely beautiful, and one of the best looking classic Ferraris, I would have to say. Beside that, we do have a nice little lineup of classic Formula 1 cars, and yes, there are obviously a ton of people here, so I do apologize for the crowds, but a great little lineup of classic F1 cars. Look at this, the Candy Tyrrell over here, driven by Didier Pironi. That looks so good. This could be like the best looking era of F1 cars right here, in my opinion.
For this one, Armando, the Scott Pruitt Legends of Endurance Cup. Great group of cars. 1991 to 2011 IMSA, ALMS, Grand Am, FIA, and World Challenge cars in the face lap just getting underway. DJ Hyatt, colors. Scott Tourniquet Tim De Silva sharing the driver's
Look at that, we saw a bit of it on track. We just saw it pull into the paddock as well. The Saleen S7R GT1, absolutely iconic. Probably one of my favorite race cars of all time, to be honest. It's so rare to see them these days, so obviously this is another reason why the Rolex Reunion is one of the coolest events on earth. And beside that, two more legendary American racers. We've got the Esperante GTR1, again from the GT1 class. Beside it is the road version of it, painted in this crazy green and yellow flip paint. To my knowledge, the only road version of the Esperante GTR1 in existence. This is something that I had no idea was even going to be here. So it's always good when you get surprises at these kinds of events, and this is a mega one at that. Just want to show you guys inside the Panoz GTR1 street car quickly. We have a lucky opportunity to have a look. It's pretty much got these side sills just like the race car, but obviously just a few more gauges, just a bit more knobs and buttons. But other than that, it's just a full-blown race car for the road. So the only one that's homologated for road use, and it's essentially just the race car without the extra aero work. That's really it. And the fact that they painted in this like green and yellow flip paint too is pretty damn bold. So again, no idea this is going to be here. A wonderful treat. There it is from the front as well, the Saleen S7R. It's hard to put into words just how good this car is and how excited I am to see it. I hope you can hear it from my voice. I am extremely grateful that we get to be up close to these kinds of cars. And look at that, just a quick look inside the interior of the S7R GT1. Not much going on. It is full-blown GT1 race car, obviously. So a steering wheel, some gauges and a shifter, and a bucket seat. That's all you're going to get. And there's that gigantic V8 in the back. If you guys watched the ARM auction video too, we saw basically the road version of this car, the S7, with the competition package. Now we have the race car here on the channel as well. That is just so damn good. All kinds of cool Trans Am cars here too, SECA cars, the old Camaros, the old Mustangs. Obviously the Boss 302s are pretty famous from the classic Trans Am series, and there's the modern variant of it right there. And yeah, there's just no shortage of cool cars, guys. Just keeps on going and going. It's a pretty interesting Merkur XR4 Ti. I think it's not a very well-known IMSA GT car, but it's got a pretty unique body style to it, I gotta say. And it's got like a strange double wing at the back there. That's really cool. There's one coming off the top like an Escort Cosworth, and then there's a more traditional duckbill below that. And over here is a Mustang GTP car, which I believe we saw this exact one back at the Roush collection. If not, it's an extremely similar livery, but such a wild looking car. It doesn't even really look like a Mustang at all. And you can see how big the hood is. It stretches so far back, and the cockpit is almost touching that rear wing. It's a pretty hilarious looking car, but it's really interesting. Kind of show a bit more love to the muscle cars here, and I think this is the only Challenger in the Trans Am paddock here, but it's probably my favorite out of all of them. Amidst all the Camaros and the Mustangs, I don't know, I think this Challenger is pretty damn cool. Originally driven by Sam Posey, pretty legendary driver as well. But this, I want to call it a front splitter, or I don't even know if I call it a diffuser or not, but it's absolutely massive. It really adds to the cool factor of this Challenger. It's such an awesome looking car. A couple more interesting finds here in the paddock. Got the GT Black Series with the Gulf livery. That's pretty bold. But over there, obviously drawing a bit of attention, is the Lancia Stratos, one of the coolest rally cars ever, and obviously the Stradale version. So this one is road ready, and blue on the gold is a great spec. Look at that. It's just such a cool looking car too. There's a great little deal. We've got another Fly Saudia Williams over there, but here we have the Toyota GTP Eagle Mark III. So just another iconic late 90s IMSA race car here, and I would say maybe one of the best looking ones ever built too. And it's got that classic TRD livery with the red, orange, and yellow. But there's so many different little accents you could look at this car. The massive canards at the front, all the way to that giant, almost like double-decker rear wing. It's a true one-of-a-kind car, you'd have to say. And I would honestly say definitely one of the best looking ones out there. We've got the legendary 250 GTO here, a former most expensive car in the world, still obviously one of the most iconic of all time. Somewhere back there is a 962 or 956. The man right there is Jean Todt, obviously the former head of the FIA and team principal of Ferrari during the Schumacher eras. And well, what can you say? There's just a lot of history and a lot of important people here at Laguna this weekend. Now there's a classic Tiro right there, and a Jackie Stewart one at that. So much history in these cars, my goodness. This one looks like to be an early 70s model. I think Tiro's probably best known for the P34, the six-wheeled car, but I think these early 70s Tiros are probably the best looking creations they ever had. And here with Jackie Stewart, obviously three-time world champion, pretty legendary. Two final parking lot finds here at Laguna Seca, just as we're leaving. A black and gold Singer DLS. This is the wide-body one developed with Williams, the crazy variant, multi-million-dollar 911 resto mod. Just have a look at all the gold accents here, all through the intakes, the door handles, the striping on the side. Goes all through the interior as well. It's on the steering wheel, it's on the gauges. Absolutely remarkable. And then in front of it, look at that. We saw this back at the Quail, but can you ever really get tired of seeing just a casual EB110 ditch in a random parking lot? That is just, oh man, absolutely incredible. And the dark red color suits it so well. It's not the Super Sport, it doesn't have the rear wing or anything like that, but it's just such a good looking car. So incredibly rare these days, absolutely great to see it. Well guys, I don't know what happened with the Gordon Murrays. They started them for a little bit and they never ended up going out. So I don't know if there's a problem with the cars couldn't get them started. We did get to see those crazy McMurtrys though. That was awesome. That was probably one of the fastest production cars I've ever seen in my life. It honestly looks fake. It's absolutely incredible to see that on track, especially with all of the classic race cars in the paddock, on the track as well. A great day here. It's always fun at Laguna Seca. So thanks as always again, guys, for tuning into the channel. We'll see you next time on 6 Cars.